Hello everyone, my name is Pik Kun and I'm a physiotherapist. I'm also the program lead of the physiotherapy degree program here at Singapore Institute of Technology. If you're watching this, it would mean that either you or somebody you know is interested in pursuing a career in physiotherapy. So I hope I will be able to provide you with some information to help you make your decision. So in this session, I will cover two broad subject areas about the profession as well as the program. So let's start first about the profession. Now, when I tell people I'm a physiotherapist, it's not uncommon for the conversation to shift towards them sharing about injury that they have developed while exercising or playing a sport, or cheekily asking me for a massage, or wonder how I spend my whole day walking patients for a living. Well, this is not entirely a wrong representation of some of the things we do as physiotherapists, but we do a lot more than this. So what do we do? Now, to simplify things, just think of two words: movement and function. So we help maintain and restore movement in order to maximize function. As physiotherapists, we aim to maximize the quality of lives of individuals through health promotion, prevention, and rehabilitation. And this is done through a combination of exercise, such as walking, manual therapy, which includes massage, education, advice, and other treatment modalities. Now, allow me to provide you with a couple of examples to help you understand. As a future physiotherapist, you could be working with people to ensure that they have the adequate joint range of motion, strength, agility, and ability to continue to participate in the sports that they love, regardless of their disability or injury. This father here could be your patient. He may have developed a lower back pain or got diagnosed with diabetes, and your role is to help him manage his condition so that he can continue to doing what he loves to do, such as spending time with his 3-year-old boy. So this 3-year-old boy could be your patient as well. He may have a lung condition such as bronchiectasis, and he may need help clearing his secretions. Or he could have a developmental issue that affects his balance, and your role is to help him improve his balance so that he can continue playing with his friends and spending time with his father. You may actually have to work with caregivers to help patients who are otherwise homebound and bedbound to get out of the house so that they can spend time with God in a place of worship, because that is what they really want. Without the healthcare team support, a person like this may otherwise be bedbound, staring at the same spot on the ceiling and needing help to scratch his own nose. So just by being able to leave the house to have a breath of fresh air means so much to him. It also means a lot to the caregivers to be able to leave the house too. As you can imagine, a lot of care and attention is required to support a person like that at home. As you can imagine, as a physiotherapist, you will need to have compassion, empathy, patience, and understanding. Because let's face it, we usually meet our patients when they are going through somewhat challenging and difficult times. You need to also be a good communicator and understand human behavior enough to motivate those who need a little bit of encouragement. You need to demonstrate social and cultural competence, have logical thinking and problem-solving skills. We usually work in a team, so you should be equally comfortable working independently and collaboratively. As physiotherapists, we also need to be creative and innovative and be able to adapt to meet the demands of the fast and ever-evolving care environment. I'm just going to play this video for you to see. So if you're observing, you might just think that the patient is having a go at boxing and having a bit of fun. But actually, this activity has been intentionally designed to train the patient's balance, coordination, as well as strength. Who says therapy cannot be fun? From the example I've given you, you will have realized by now that we work with people from all walks of life and all ages, from the very, very young to the not so young. As a physiotherapy student, you will be trained to assess, manage and treat patients with, but not limited to those with musculoskeletal, neurological, as well as cardiopulmonary conditions. But as humans, we don't fit into a box, right? So you may meet patients who have a combination of conditions. COVID-19 is a good example, right? COVID-19 not only affects a person's lung function, it can also affect a person's musculoskeletal system as well as the nervous system. So as a physiotherapist, we play an important role in COVID-19 survivors' recovery. And I'm very happy that the role of physiotherapists in managing COVID-19 was highlighted by Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong in his National Rally speech this year. As a future physiotherapist, you will have the option to work in a variety of settings, and this includes hospitals, community and residential care facilities, outpatients, and education settings. You may choose to provide therapy to patients in their own homes because there are patients who have difficulty leaving their own homes. You could also work in sports or military institutes, government agencies doing planning and policy work, non-government organizations, and research institute. Your career progression and development opportunities will depend on where you work. But, after gaining some clinical experience, physiotherapists can choose to specialize in a particular clinical area. As a trained physiotherapist, it is also possible to pursue a management track. We certainly have colleagues in leadership and senior management roles. It is also possible to pursue a research track or an education track. But it's also possible to actually hold a combination of portfolios of the above. For example, when I was working as a physiotherapist, I took on administrative and management role because we needed to manage team as well as the services we provided. I also collected data to inform our practice. This is so that we can continue to improve the therapy as well as the services we provide our patients. So as you can see, as a physiotherapist, you have a lot of options and there's a lot of flexibility. It's really up to you where you want to take your career. In terms of career prospects, physiotherapists enjoy a high employment rate. Almost 100% of the physiotherapy SIT class of 2020 found work within 6 months. So this is good news for the profession and it's good news for you too. So how do we train to be a physiotherapist? Let's talk about the physiotherapy program we offer here at SIT. So there are two pathways to obtaining a degree in physiotherapy at SIT. There's the standard program and the accelerated program. Essentially, students enrolled in the accelerated program will have to complete the same amount of academic load. There are two pathways to obtaining a degree in physiotherapy at SIT. There's the standard program and the accelerated program. Essentially, students who enroll in the accelerated program will have to complete the same academic requirements, but in a shorter time. They will need to have a good science-related honors degree from a recognized university, qualify for career conversion program sponsorship, because everyone enrolled in this pathway will have to be sponsored, and you'll have to commit to 8 weeks of compulsory intensive course prior to the start of the program. So as you can imagine, this pathway is very intensive, and you need to think carefully when choosing which pathway you would like to pursue. So this is an overview of the curriculum structure of the program. As I mentioned, it's a 4-year degree with the last year completing in 8 months. In the first year, students will take on foundational modules such as anatomy and physiology, behavioral sciences, and start with some hands-on practice. In the second year, you'll move on to more physio-specific modules of increasing complexity over time. In the third year, you will start your honors thesis modules in the second trimester and then move on to your clinical practice education blocks in the third trimester. So a few key highlights and things to note. This program aims to graduate professional physiotherapists who are theoretically grounded and clinically orientated to practice autonomously in different specialties of physiotherapy. The program was developed in consultation with industry partners, including Ministry of Health. So the advantage of you doing your training here in Singapore is that you will be industry ready for work. We have taken into consideration the needs of the industry partners and the direction of the healthcare environment here in Singapore. Now, as a future physiotherapist, you will be working in a multidisciplinary team. So as part of the program, we encourage this by including many common modules in the curriculum. You will be taking this module with students from other programs in the health and social science cluster. This will give you the opportunity to do interdisciplinary work as well as make friends with people who may be your future colleagues. This program also allocates a generous amount of time to clinical practice education. The international standard is 1,000 hours, but as IT, we recognize the importance and the importance of having more exposure and practice, so we have intentionally allocated more time in the curriculum for this. We also have a module on simulated practice education that students will take before going on clinical practice education. The aim of this module is for the students to put together what they have learned and apply it to simulated cases to prepare them for clinical practice. Now, on average, those in the standard program will take 4 modules per trimester. You will expect to have 4 to 5 hours of classes per week per module. And this will be a combination of lectures, tutorials, seminars, and practical classes. So that would mean that you are looking at about 20 hours of contact hours per week. And together with all the independent self-learning that you have to do and the projects that you have to do, it is essentially a full-time job. Now, a little bit more about clinical practice education. As mentioned, you'll do 30 weeks or 1,200 hours of clinical practice education. You'll do 5 blocks. 4 blocks are core in cardiopulmonary, musculoskeletal, neurology, as well as a placement in intermediate long-term care. You will have the opportunity to choose where you would like to go for one of the placements. At SIT, you will be taught by experienced local and international faculty and educators. Many in our teaching team are still working in a clinical setting. Therefore, you will be able to hear firsthand of the challenges that they are facing on the ground. As part of your learning journey, students enrolled in the physiotherapy program will have the option to go on an overseas experience program. Even at the time that we're not allowed to travel right now, we have been able to arrange for virtual overseas exchange programs so that students have the opportunity to interact with their counterparts across the world. So this is a very applied and practical program, right? So you will be doing a lot of hands-on practice in the practical sessions. Now, if you're somebody who do not enjoy working with people and doing hands-on practice, then this is not a program for you. Now, we also take our students beyond the classroom and provide them opportunities in the different modules to interact with people in the community to give them that real-life experience. Now, all this real-world experience, as well as the experience in the clinical practice education, has helped our fresh graduates transit quickly into their work. Where do you find out more about the profession? I encourage you to look at the Singapore Physiotherapy Association website. And the students at SIT have their own Instagram page. So it's nothing like hearing from those going through the experience. So that's all I have to share for today. I hope to see you at SIT.